Hey everybody, it's Piano Man Steve Lungrin, founder of LearningMusicIsFun.com, where I'm teaching piano players to play rock, pop, and country music. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of my video blog, and for those of you who watch frequently my video blog posts, I apologize that for a couple of weeks here I haven't been able to do much with it. I've had several creative projects going on, and it's been about all I could handle to just keep up with the new videos I have to put in the members section and the song tutorials every week. So forgive me for not being able to spend more time with this, but I wanted to check in with you, say hi, update you on what I've been doing, and share with you some of the creative work I've been doing just lately. Among the things I've been doing, you saw, I got to go back to my home state of Nebraska, play some shows. I put a couple of live clips up from one of those appearances. That was a lot of fun. And I'm working on something for a new marketing, kind of a new marketing strategy, and that's inside baseball, but that's taken up a fair amount of my time. The other thing that I've been working on, and I've touched on this in the past, and I'm not going to play anything from it right this moment, but I'm collaborating with a fellow on a show for, we're not going to do it until November, but I've been working on it with him. He's going to do the singing, and I thought it'd be kind of a fun challenge for me to dig into some old crooner tunes. So I've been putting together tracks, just bass drum, to create kind of a small, kind of like combo, bass drums, piano combo sound, to play piano live along with the bass and drum tracks that I put together for these tunes while he sings them. And it's going to be kind of fun, a lot of fun. And of course I've been able to incorporate those into my own live set because I can sing the songs too. So I've been using those a little bit in my live shows lately, but that's been a tremendous amount of work. I wanted to get all the tracks done. He's going to be gone for about 5 weeks, starting August 15th, and which is about a week and a half from now, or about a week from right now actually. So I wanted to get all of the tracks done and be able to give him a practice CD to send with him, and that's why I've been working like a maniac on those. I've been doing marathon sessions getting all these done, because we're doing about 30 songs at night. So that's been a big chunk of what my time has been aimed at. And then the other thing that I've been trying to do is go through and simplify a whole bunch of my accompaniment tracks that I use in my live gigs. I've been kind of observing lately that when I was, especially in my early days of doing this, my tendency was to try to copy as much as I could off of the original recordings of these people's music that I would play, and then, you know, play the keyboard part live and sing. And what I'm doing right now is saying, you know, I'm not going to try and copy that so much, and this has been my modus operandi on anything new I've programmed over the last year or so, but I already had like 200 songs programmed before that. And what my new philosophy is, hey, you know what, let's do a minimalist approach. Let's keep the focus on what I'm doing live, which is playing the piano and singing, and we'll have, you know, bass guitar and drums, and occasionally maybe a little bit of string pad, or, you know, if there's a real signature line with horns or something, I might put that in. But let's not try to replicate everything, and let's try and keep the experience as organic as we can while we're there. And I know that that might seem like a contradiction in terms when you're using accompaniment tracks, but for a solo artist, you know, a minimalist approach is really good, because it's just me usually at these gigs. And so I'm going through all my old tracks and basically like starting them from scratch and making sure I use the same bass guitar patch on all of them and the same drum kit patch on all of them, so that they have kind of a uniform sound, and just really making it all about, as much as possible, the piano and my lead voice, because that's what people are experiencing in person. And once I started doing that, then I couldn't help but doing a few new tunes as well, because it got me excited for the creative experience that it was. And then I did my Conversations with the Masters interview with my new friend Chris Knoll, who's out in Nashville. And Chris has done a lot of things if you watch the interview, but one of the more notable things that he's done was he worked with one of my biggest heroes, John Denver. And I don't talk about John a lot in this setting because we talk so much about the piano, but I think for me, my style of piano playing is almost like the most analogous to John's style of guitar playing. That's kind of become your own rhythm section. That idea kind of spurred from what I observed from John, because John Denver could sit by himself on the guitar and do the whole concert with nobody's help. And then he never changed that. He didn't change the way he played if he was doing it by himself or if he had a band with him. It's just that the band's job was to layer around him. And I love that approach. And he wasn't necessarily the greatest lead player ever, and neither am I. But he could really bring a lot of sound out of just that little one instrument that he had. And so I love that about him, and I love the way he sang, and I love the honesty and the purity in his music. You know, just the fact that he could sing about things like sunshine on your shoulders, and it didn't sound, I mean, maybe it sounded hokey, but it didn't sound like he was a farce. It sounded right for him. It sounded honest. And I love that, because the thing that John did was he did what was right for him. And I just absolutely really admired and loved that. And I'm getting more and more confident in doing that for myself every day and every year that I grow older. And I've always wanted to do a John Denver tribute show. Always, always, always. And I lived with the limiting belief forever that I'd need to do it on guitar, because that's what John did. And I can play acoustic guitar a little bit. And I'm not terrible at it. I'm a decent rhythm player if I need to be, but I don't really have the depth that John does. My depth is here on this instrument, and it never occurred to me to put together a John Denver tribute show and make the piano the key instrument. But lately, and I kind of have gotten a little bit reconnected with how much I love John's music. I go through these cycles with people. After talking to Chris Nolgs, it brought back so many great memories of seeing John in concert with Chris on the keys with him there back in '95. And so I started working on some John Denver tracks. And I, again, took this very minimalist approach where it's like, let's make the whole focus the keys, the live piano playing and the voice, and then we'll throw in a little bit of percussion and a bass guitar, and if need be, some strings, but we're not going to get crazy. The strings will be very simple. It'll just be there to maybe thicken the sound a little bit, but not to be the feature. The feature will be what's being played in person. And it has been so much fun. It's like I'm not getting my lessons filmed for the week until like the last day before they're supposed to be released, because I'm busy putting all this stuff in and I just can't stop. So I thought that would be fun to share at least one of those songs with you in a video blog. So I'm going to play a tune for you with my new little arrangement that I put together called Rocky Mountain High. You know, I'm going to grab my acoustic guitar for 1 second. I just want to give you an example of what we're trying to do here. I don't play this particular lick very well. Okay, but John's lick on Rocky Mountain High is something like this. He was born in the summer, you know, and I'm, like I said, I'm not very good at it. If all you need me to do is sit over here and strum, I'm good to go. But when you want those intricacies, this is not my instrument. So what I had to do is come up with some way to replicate that on the piano, but as I've talked about in some other video blogs, just trying to do a straight replication of a guitar lick to a piano lick isn't necessarily always the most effective thing, because they're not the same instrument. So what works really well on one doesn't always work that well on the other. So what I tried to do was approximate it and do something that worked well on piano. And what I came up with was to do this. So that's what I'm going to be playing, and then I put a bass guitar and some percussion underneath it, and during the choruses I added some strings. So let's see how this comes out. I'm just going to play it for you, but I'm really enjoying the process of putting this together, and I'm going to put these tunes together, and I'm sure I'll be able to come up with some place where I'll get to actually do a show at some point. But for right now, this is just sort of consuming me, because I, like all artists, have a need to create sometimes. Especially sometimes I just get into a mode where I gotta create, and this has been something that's been taking a lot of that creative energy, and it's really been fulfilling for me, so I have to share some of it with you. Here's Rocky Mountain High.
Yesterday behind him, you might say he was born again. Might say he found a key for every door. When he first came to the mountains, his life was far away, on the road and hanging by a song. With the strings already broken and he doesn't really care. Keeps changing fast.
it. Well, thanks for listening. That's the kind of thing I've been busy with here just lately. Mostly I've been working on these crooner tracks, which has been a lot of fun. It's had me playing a lot of chords that you don't normally have to play in more contemporary pop music, but it's been fun to get into these. A lot of major nines and minor sevens, flatted nines, the occasional half diminished seven, and full diminished seven. I mean, it just a lot of augmented stuff, you know, stuff like night and day, where I get to start out and like. Night and day, you are the one. So, a lot of that kind of stuff. So, I've been working pretty hard, and I just haven't been able to film as many vlogs. But we're coming to an end of some of these special projects, and I hope to hit the blogging a little bit harder and do, 3 or 4 a week again here pretty soon. But in the meantime, I have been having fun being creative. I thought I'd share a little bit of it with you. And as I put some more things in there, maybe I'll share some more of those songs with you. But I haven't shared that side. I've shared my love for these guys, Billy Joel and Elton John, with my piano community. But I have not done an adequate job of sharing just how important John Denver was for me. He's one of my absolute favorites and one of the most important people to influence my career and the way I do what I do. So I'm glad to be able to share a little bit of that with you. And so I'm going to get out of here for now. But remember, if you're not having fun when you're making music, you're doing it wrong. And I know I'm not doing it wrong, because I've had more fun doing this than I have about anything that I've done in a long, long time. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video, gang. This is Piano Man Steve signing out.